UGRC150 23 first semester main campus. We have done our Unit 1. We have mopped up very well, I believe, and taken a lot of questions on it. Then we got into Unit 2. We did quite a good job there too. I think we have a few mopping ups to do there. Then we are prepared and ready to get into Unit 3. So on our slide now, we see types of definitions, but I want to, like I always do, walk you back a little into previous content. So this unit is the Unit 2, discussing definitions, verbal disputes, substantive disagreements. If we're able to get to that, that will be fine. If not, wherever we get to, we'll build on it until we cover what we are supposed to cover. Last week, we saw connotation, denotation as aspects of a definition, two ways of thinking of a definition. When we already studied the types of definition, and then also the parts of definition. Okay? So the parts of definition we said are definiendum and definiens. And then we did the connotation and denotation, which are relatively technical. So I like to help students understand. Connotation meaning the meaning of a word, whilst denotation refers to the particular examples. Look on my screen. Look on my screen, please. As special students who may find yourself here, we are still waiting for your unit to pull out your data and give us so that we can attend to your special need. Might be special visual need or hearing need, but at least as it stands, those who have visual need will get the recording, and then those who have visual need will see the transcript when it is pulled down. Okay, so we can manage it for now until I'm able to get you on your own group platform and attend to you to meet that need. Okay, so be at peace. When I say look on the screen, dear friends, look on your screen now, down there. I tell you to note. That note is there for you to read. If you don't read it, it can't be the lecturer's issue. I want you to understand. It will help you. You have to do well. Okay, the given connotation then will determine the specific denotation. What is that? Look into the bracket there. Particular instances or examples referred to in each sentence above. That's denotation. The particular examples, the particular instances. So if I define even number as any number that is divisible by 2 without a remainder, I have just given you the connotation or a connotation of even number, what it connotes, its description, its criteria. Now, if I asked you to, based on this meaning, give me the denotations of even number, you will now give me the particular examples, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever, all the way ad infinitum. That is connotation and denotation. It's not anything we should stress ourselves over. So we'll give you some more examples to show you that you can have different connotations of one word, different meanings of one word, like what you see on the screen now. Table. Table is connotes something different from the second use of table here and the third use of table here. Okay, so these are different connotations of the word table. And please notice the different connotations of the word table is what has been said there to help you. and so detecting equivocation. For you to know whether I like the way the class is quiet. Detecting equivocation. If more than one connotation of a word is used in the same context, and I don't know if I emphasized that, but even if I did, I want to touch on it a little bit more. When you use the different meanings of one word in the same context, as if they mean the same, you see, the word is one, but it can have more than one meaning. So you are using the different meanings of that one word in the same context, as if both meanings refer to one thing, okay? Without a signal, then you are committing equivocation. Sometimes, like you see on your screen, it is with the intention to manipulate or to persuade. Sometimes it is not, but we are not able to measure intention. So you might say, oh, maybe the person didn't intend to. How do you measure whether he intended to manipulate people or he didn't intend to? So the point is, if you use more than one connotation of a word in the same context to suggest that they mean the same when they don't, you have created or you have committed the crime of equivocation. Someone says, I'm looking for a responsible person to take up the job of a secretary in this company. So you are an applicant. You know that the criteria searched for is what? Someone who is responsible should come and take up the job. That is what they ask you to come and do. They are looking for a responsible person. So sister has come for the interview. And they said, we are looking for a responsible person to take up this job. She said, yes. I think if it's responsible you are looking for, then I'm the one. Because the company I was in before coming here, whenever something got missing, I was responsible. You see, that is the thing we are talking about. The lady is equivocating. They are looking for a responsible person. Yes, so the word is responsible. But what do we mean by responsible in this context? Someone who will be up to the task, who will look out for, duties and discharge them without fear, or favor. She knows her place. She meets deadlines, blah, blah, blah. Responsible in that sense of it. She says, if you're looking for a responsible person, then I'm the one. Because whenever something got missing, I was responsible. This second use of responsible, which she is referencing, as if it means the same as what the company is looking for, is the one that says, I stole it. I took it. I allowed it to happen. This sense of responsible and the earlier one that the company is not looking for people who allow things to get missing or who take things in their company. That's not what. So the word is one. The connotations are not the same. And so where someone is using the two different meanings of one word as if they mean the same, without notice to the listener, we accuse the person of committing equivocation. And here I would want one of you to read the second, the example under that. I think we did it last time, but it helps for more people, for those who have just come in. To raise your hand, please, if you want to read, I'll call you. I want to take Maxwell. Okay, well, there's a hand up. Maxwell's hand was up earlier. Gifty, where is Gifty Asamoah? Please unmute and ask and read. Nobody should unmute their microphone. If I see a microphone unmuted, I disable it. You see how the place is quiet? I disable it so the people can't unmute again. If I call you, then you read. Gifty, read. Leslie, mute your mic before I disable it for you, please.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Gifty Asamoah, go ahead. Thank you.
I don't see why that they do not.
Oh, Gifty, please read it well. Take your time and read. I think your background is a bit weak. So take your time and read. Let them hear. I want them to hear. And I'll reference it. Okay. Please go ahead.
I don't see why women are always that they do not same freedom as it's a free country. So what's the problem? Ghana here is free to do what they like.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much, Gifty. I want someone else to read for me. Okay. Let's take who has a very Leslie, do you have a good background? Then I'm glad to take your reading as well. Please read for me, Leslie. Unfortunately, the only name you put there is Leslie, which is not very good. Because you could have several Leslies. Then we will know which Leslie we have. Can tell that. Leslie, go ahead. Leslie, please go ahead.
I don't see why women are always that do not enjoy men. Three countries, especially in Ghana here.
Thank you very much. I think that we still have an issue with hearing because we may have people who are depending on listening alone. I want it to read out well when it's a point worth emphasizing. So let me take Maxwell Oredu. Can you help us read what you see on your screen? Thank you very much. Maxwell, please unmute and read for us. Actually, Redu, please, are you there? Kelvin or Heneba, it was your background that was that noisy. I was trying to find it. That's why I didn't mute. Your boy, Rahel, mute your microphone. Mute it. Hey, I didn't ask brainy. People, this university, I'm respecting you as adults. I beg you, please. Right, go ahead. I'll read the thing myself. Let me read it. If people won't read it for me. Akofo, your mic is unmuted. Vanessa Tete, unmute and read them and see if yours is good. If I get someone who has a good background, I will stick to her or him.
I don't see why women are always complaining that they do not enjoy the same freedom as men do. It is a free country. So what's the problem? Everybody in Ghana here is free to do what they like.
Thank you very much. Now, we want to see that as a typical instance of an equivocation, where the person is moving from one sense of the word to another sense of it, and presuming that those senses cohabit or agree. It's the same sense of the word he or she is using, when it is not the same sense of it that he's using. You see? So first of all, see what he says. I don't see why women are always complaining that they do not enjoy the same freedom as men do. The same freedom as men do. So the word is freedom. It is a free country. Now, do men and women enjoy the same freedoms? No, they don't. You see, we should, just like men have certain freedoms that women don't have, women also have certain freedoms that men don't have. Don't go to the social or the cultural background. Don't even use culture or society. You can use what? The natural makeup of a human person. Women do that thing at the end of the month. Men don't. It has implications. When two people get pregnant, get busy trying to get pregnant, it is one that carries the baby or babies for months. Because it is that one person that has a womb, the other one doesn't. It is not something to even contend over. When we are all in a room and we see something, that one is even more cultural, okay? We see snake or something, we'll come, men should come, men should, of course, there can be women that also do that, but it is men that carry the burden. You see, people are sad, they are all crying. When a man cries, you say, a man shouldn't cry. A man shouldn't, those are even cultural, but the natural ones that you don't choose, that's how it is. So when your friend who you are contending with over first or second position in class, one is a male, one is a female, and you have all studied, your rules, deductive logic rules or something, calculus or something, you are ready to go and show your stuff. Then the sister that morning, she will be in red with all that it comes with. Nausea, dizziness, cramps, you take in the painkiller, it's not painkiller, it's not killing any pain. The brother is free, still in his mind. You sit the same exam, start work. When they ask square root of this, you see it like long division. And it's not your fault. It's a natural thing. Do men have that? They don't. You see, so when someone wants to say that, you don't understand why they are complaining. From that, if you don't check it, then you can be allowed to be subordinate and your place is in the kitchen. And some people, the cultural system even makes the woman feel like you shouldn't talk when men are talking. Now, you're a woman, when men are talking, they need to come and go to the kitchen and get us something to eat. We are discussing. This is a cultural system, and the person can take it to the parliament house, or if you like, some other place of renown. When the woman raises her hand to make an input of a kind, it's like in the psyche, it's like that one cannot be a very healthy contribution because it's coming from a woman. Period. Even churches do that, some churches. Women have a place to sit when it comes to authority. They can pastor, they can head, they can, you see, I'm trying to show you, so from the natural differences that we talk about, we can even have cultural system. Some places women can't be kings or chiefs because she's a woman. Anybody that wants to make it look as if it is not the case is either asleep or a liar. But I think the part that sometimes the gender folks don't look at is the fact that it is the same, or to an extent also, men also suffer certain kinds of what? Restriction or limitations that women are free to do. I mean, we are all in the queue going to buy food, for example. I use GBR, very simple ones. Okay. Then the sisters will come and say, oh, hello, brother, please. Even the guy was, oh, please go ahead. My brother is hungry, but he has to be a gentleman. Okay. I said, when we find a snake here right now, who will go and pick it? Who will go and kill the snake? They say, remember, hey, something is follow. Is there no man here? When we enter the room right now, and we need someone to pull the ceilings that the ceiling that is falling down, something at the lecture hall. How many women, ladies will even go there? Okay, so that he's sad, and his crying. His mother has as well, and maybe he's sad about it. When you cry this over you to a man, it's okay. You see, he's a man, so he can't even express. The women will be emotional, bring all the pain out. Sometimes you are the cause of the problem, but you cry and all attention will come because you are allowed to. The man is not allowed to. Some way, somehow. So there are freedoms that men have that women don't have, and there are freedoms that women have that men don't have, but vice versa. If you come and you want to deny that, no problem. Now the person says there isn't any such freedom. That is already false. But look at his reason for saying that. The person is arguing here. He said, it is a free country. Because it's a free country, women should freely do what men do. This freedom here, that someone may be complaining that women and men have different freedoms, so they are being submerged or prevented from being themselves. It's even if you look at the natural one, the cultural one. I'm just giving you some instances. Religious. I've gone to a church where I was moved from there by the MC, the usher was then to go and sit somewhere else because that church doesn't do, women pastor thing. Meanwhile, the person that is coming to is coming from my church. So they ushered me there. Me, I can't sit in the congregation. So if you are heading a church at your place, you had to go and bring a wife from another church. Your Emma, the man is coming from your place and you go. They sit me there, and then later on, when the MC came, I see as if the Holy Spirit couldn't descend because of my sitting with the men pastors or so. So the Holy Spirit in that church was hanging up there. He couldn't descend. He had to stop until the usher came to move me from there to sit somewhere else. What kind of thinking would that be in today's world? You see, but I'm sure it's a different way of treating people, especially women. Now, this person is making this argument and wants to go and support it by saying Ghana is a free country. Ghana is a free country. Do prisoners come out at the time they want to and decide on, can you go into Kempiski and go in? Is Ghana not a free country? Go and eat in Kempiski in the morning. Why do you go to Bushki or like night market? Huh? It's a free country. Who has held your hand? Cross the traffic light. I mean, if you are driving, when the traffic says red, keep driving. Why have you stopped? Why is it the exam hall when we are doing exam, you don't get up as a student and be going around and looking at people's way? Is Ghana not a free country? Ghana is a free country, but you are not free to do certain things. These are two different connotations. Okay? So if you argue that women are always complaining about it and you don't understand why they say that they are not as free as men, I've showed you different reasons why you can make this case. If you disagree with the person complaining, then you tell the person that after all, is Ghana not a free country? Then you further say that everybody is free to do what they like in Ghana here. Is everybody free to do what they like in Ghana here? That's why I asked you those things. Three different connotations. Yes, Ghana is a free country, but in a certain sense of the word free. But there are laws here. You can't go and open your mouth any angle and say things on air. The name of it's a free country. Let us be free to talk. You won't sleep in your home if you do that. You wake up in a small cubicle with chamber pot around you. You are stuck there. Because if what you said is treasonable, it is a free country, but you'll be in trouble. Okay, so let's understand that this person arguing here is just equivocating left, right, center, trying to buttress his point. You see, because each time he repeated it, he used the word freedom. You will be convinced if you don't look out for it. The same with the notion of law. So I'll use that to tell you what is happening in Unit 5. Learn strategically. Unit 5 will introduce you to different types of laws. I'm sure by now that I will check and see if I projected slide. Different kinds of laws, civil laws, customary laws, criminal laws, etc. They are all laws, regulations, do's and don'ts. But mathematical laws and logical laws and all the other laws have different ways of enforcing them. They have different connotations. They connote something else. Even though the word is law, mra, the mla, if you speak guys, mla, fancy mra, mra. You see, law. I don't speak the other languages very well. Don't want to crucify them, so bear with me. But the word is law. But if you don't pay your tithe at church, no policeman in Ghana will arrest you on your way out. That you haven't paid your tithe, so you're under arrest. No. But if you go and wee in a drain, or you go and cross the traffic light when it is showing red, or you go and take someone's phone or something, these are laws that the government of Ghana has, empowered a police to arrest you. If you wear swimming costume to the lecture hall, no one will arrest you. Because we don't have any law that says that you shouldn't wear what you want to the lecture hall. But we can use our eyebrows to arrest you. We'll chuckle at you, and those who are spiritus will speak their tongues on you at the lecture hall. Those people would normally come late. When a male lecturer is teaching, if we should get any, I've not seen one yet, but I'm giving an example. Why will you wear swim costume to the lecture hall? What are you looking for? You see, it's not morality. We are not even talking morality. Asking like what is right or wrong. No. We are speaking contest. Can you wear slit and kaba to go and swim for a competition? We all laugh at you. It's out of place. You see, so it's not like a religious, moral, sensibility, just a holier than thou attitude. We are not even getting there at all. It just doesn't fit. You are going to teach or you are going to learn. Why would you dress up in a certain way? The same as if you were going to swim. You are not permitted to wear hijab, wear your kaba. Kaba is the African dress, long. Or let's look at the chiefs, our venerable chiefs, and how they dress with their big cloths. They are going to do 100 meters for us for Ghana. You say, you dear, you are traditional. You respect the tradition of the nation. So your athlete, 100 meters, you are wearing kaba and slit, and it's out of place. It's simply that. Okay, I'm using that to show you something because the questions you will answer are applied. You will apply them, especially for your exam and the interim assessment. The short answer component, you apply them. You are not coming to tell me that there are two types of dispute: verbal dispute, then verbal misuse. No. That is class 4, class 6, maybe at most JHS. This is university. You need practical knowledge to go out there and help solve our plenty issues in life. That is what academia is there for. Not for us to know and know that we know, and we are walking around knowing degree to the burning level. No, we learn and know for impact. So at the tertiary level, if that is what you are thinking, then wait, it's not you poor pass and forget. No, you have to apply it. So applicable knowledge. So in class, we learn the concept, we learn the what have you, but it's for application. So I can ask you applied questions, and I intend to do that, like we've always done. At this time, more focused on applied. See how long I've spent time on what I believe we have already done, but now I'm engaging the questions and examples to show you why this is equivocal. So if you were to write, say, a passage diagnosing what is wrong with the person who is arguing this way, maybe the person is arguing at court or is doing a presentation or is doing a UN debate about Africa and how African women continue to complain about a supposed disadvantage. You are the panel on the other side, react to this, not more than a page of so and so number of words, identify the challenges with the views that the person has presented and respond to them for maybe 30 marks. I'm just giving an example. What will you say? But you want to be United Nations Secretary General, right? As you are sitting, you want to be the minister for something, whichever position, a policy maker. How will you make policies if you can't think about how someone is? So we don't want that. We are all working at it together. Okay. So I'm spending a lot of time with the practical content. As for what is written, types of connotations and this one, types of definitions, what have you, they are there. It's just one quick look at it like this. You get all the 6 and go. But if I asked you, as a fire service operator, if you wanted to bring a stop or a halt, or wanted to reduce the rampancy of fire outbreak in a certain community, and so you are looking for a best way of presenting the do's and don'ts of what household, whatever, to the people. Outline clearly which modes or which types of definitions you use, or sometimes I'll even tell you definitions, so that I give you a cue. I'll tell you how would you present this content to your fisher folk community that you find yourself, where education is an issue, formal education is an issue. Full stop, something like that. You now use the literary, whatever, or the logical tools and techniques and methods you have engaged in this course to present, something in 15 minutes to the people. You have to think around it, so you are going to avoid being equivocal. You're telling me that I've learned equivocation. You will take out every ambiguity. You clarify the meanings of definitions, the meanings of terms by using ostentation where it's possible. Okay, operational definitions will be very, high in my presentation, because I would like to show them how to do it, not just by pointing to things, but I would also give instructions to show from the beginning to the end how to turn the fire extinguisher on if there's an outbreak in this building. You see, so this person is able to solve issues. She might not even be the one going to the field to do it, but she can instruct and say, I think all our fire extinguishers inside every car must have the one that has this, because if we can press it this way, these are the people we need. So these are the kinds of questions we ask you. That's why I'm giving you the example with the law. I said the same thing we see with freedom here. You see it in the law there. So the person who decides to wear whatever they want to wear may just be committing. When I say just be, it's not that it's trivial, but it is not a criminal issue. And it's not even a civil issue. It's still against the law, but it's not a civil issue. This one may be a moral one. So in as much as we find everything wrong with it, to cause the sister to conform to the law outside of what? The police station, because there's still a certain sense of law that she is breaking, which must be what? Enforced. I told you, people can chuckle their way out. You can enter the lecture hall and you feel, people talk to the bosses here, assistant demon. Right? And then next time she'll say, I don't know how, I don't know what I've done. But when I go there, it is something that you are doing that offends the regulation, how the people regulate themselves there. Commonwealth Hall will not permit you to wear red dress and come and pass there. Then, if they stop now, they'll do coco. That means red, oh, red. You will miss your step if you're a sister. I was a student then, some decades ago, if I'm not, even if you're a lecturer then and you wore red, sometimes it's just a red pocket, something there. They will whistle. You will not see who is whistling in the class. Whistle, coco. You will get confused. You leave the lecture hall and go, because there is a regulation there that is perhaps just social, but it matters. You can't go into a certain place and go and say certain things. You see, it would offend their sensibilities, okay? But they can't call police. Now look at the customary one, which is still Unit 5. You see how you learn? Trying to show you how people can equivocate on the word law. But we have already covered Unit 5. If you check from the way we are speaking, you will know that we are already covering almost all of Unit 5. So your reading of it or engaging the slides will be revision for you. I'm talking about your Unit 5 now, okay? That is where the different senses of the word law are. Doc, why are we talking about it now? Because I want to show you how people can equivocate. They can shift from the meaning of law as a customary regulation to law as a mathematical one, to law as divine code and what have you. They can just be shifting from one to the other and saying he's breaking the law. This one there, God doesn't like it. If you go to my hometown, these things are not done there. Why is he doing? All the different levels of argumentation refers to different connotations in the word law. Divine codes are not civil laws. They are not, and civil laws themselves are not criminal codes. Take note. And criminal codes are not mathematical laws. They are not logical laws. And they are not, friend, Alagbemi, we are in Accra. You see, there's a ban on drumming and dancing, drumming and noise making, sorry, at certain periods of the year. You can't say that, but Ghana has laws, and the law permits freedom of movement and freedom of worship. Go and freedom of movement and let us see. Or go and freedom of worship. And you see, even though we have a statutory law that permits us to move around freely and worship freely, you should understand that you live in a customary area, a traditional area. And they tell you that worship for all you care the whole period. But within this period and this period, we too, what we have done that has made the place good for you to come and sit in, that you are not in your hometown. There's something we do, whether you believe it or not. They believe it. They are the custodians of the land. They tell you, don't make noise. Even your landlady that you live in her house or something, she can tell you that, oh, this weekend, I'm trying to have a certain, weight in Kakra. So please, the noise in the house you see, that one you respect it. No pounding of fufu after 6, please, because of the way the area is. You will respect that. A whole traditional area says, this is our custom. You say you won't agree. That day pay is when you go open your motor, the radio on your Agege motor be that you brought and make noise across the street. You will see whether Ghana has freedom of movement or not, because there are statutory laws, there are civil laws, criminal laws. You can see all of them are going on. I'm not a lawyer, but at least we know that they are not the same. Some will not apply. So if you go and take someone's daughter and impregnate before, and you haven't married her, and she comes from a certain place that has a certain law, you may be made to marry the cops. You know that. Ask those who have gone through widowhood right of a kind. You will marry the cops. When you marry the cops and drink the dead corpses bathing water, I'm sure that next time you will make sure that you do the needful before you pick someone's daughter and say you are going to enjoy it. So what? So now if I tell you that you are breaking the law of God, maybe let's address the most recent LGBTQ debate, for example, which is quite controversial. So you want to be careful not to talk about them. Either way, okay, without hurting people, but truth is truth. If you're looking into the law and you want to reference, are you referencing criminal law? Are you referencing civil law? Where is it written in the Constitution? See, are you referencing religious law? Our religions are not the same. Some are even atheists, which I consider to be a religion of a kind. Are you referencing morality? So you see, if it is a matter of weaning someone off it, let's help them. But if it's a matter of appealing to the law to then clarify it in the law. Because if I steal, I take someone's laptop, it's not in contention. At all, when I go to the police station, they will quote, maybe you have done so and so and so according to law, this, maybe a planning, what's the conspiracy, conspiring to commit evil, and even sometimes committing the evil itself. They are all clearly stated. Find it, let's deal with the person and go straight forward. If it's not there and we think it is pertinent, let's review the law, put it in clearly, no ambiguity. See? But if not, then we may be equivocating on the different connotations of the word law. And Latifa just went off as well. I've disabled that. Now I've used the connotations of the word law to show you how we can equivocate, moving from one meaning to the other. You can see it in the text, those who want to. And then I have used freedom or free, the word free, free SHS. Is it free or it's not free? It's free, but not free. Because whatever it is, you will buy shoe and socks for your child. You see that? So it's free in a certain sense of it, which is very good. We shouldn't be ungrateful. It's free SHS. But don't think of that free as if it means free as in even in the morning, how your child will brush your teeth before going to access the free education that they get. That one too has to be free, to the point that even the electricity that you use to iron her dress at home should be free, so that it will be really free. When it's, look at how many connotations of the word free I'm using. Finally, if you came to my office, your let's say a big man, be your big man, your pastor's office, whatever, whoever you consider big, then the person will come in. Maybe he was your mate at school. I use that at one of the sessions with some other group. I said, oh, suppose Ofiana of Blessed Memory then, I mean, he attained the highest you can think of in politics for Ghanaians. He was the world president, so to speak, United Nations Secretary General, the whole world, you know. So it is a very high position there. But maybe when he was in school, common entrance or advanced O level or A level, he was your mate. But now look at his position and look at the power he wielded then when he was in this. So he will come into his office and he says, oh, feel free, feel free. In other words, because we had a life together in the past, I have gone up, yes, but I still recognize you as a friend. So if you enter, oh, feel free, sit down. No, Ghana man. Feel free. There is that opening his drawers, some document for meetings, high profile. You are looking to, hey, so you do all these things. Is that what he meant when he says feel free? You have to understand. Feel free means go into his drawer and freely open things and be opening his fridges and stuff, going around his, his mansion and looking into his, coffers and say, so this is your bank account. All these monies are inside. You have gone beyond the freedom he asked you to feel free. It's a different connotation of the word freedom. You are applying. No, you are in his bedroom. Hey, your wife will be enjoying. Look at the bed you have here because you are feeling free. He said feel free. So who are they aware? You are equivocating on what he meant by free. And so if you got that, then you have to understand that as a critical mind, you can't just move. So that is what is happening here. You see a lot of them in your Unit 3 discussion. If you are looking at the slides for Unit 3, I don't know how I presented it. Maybe I put it in the faith lecture or something. But see, ethical and ethic, argue and argue. I told you can argue and it's a positive quality. You can argue and it will be exchange of words, and that's not positive. So when the thinker, the philosopher, or the critical thinker tells you that this person argues or argue your case out, it is a positive thing. It means present evidence to support the conclusion. I've changed the slide, so you should be seeing the lexical and what have you now. It is a positive thing. But if somebody says you like arguing too much, it doesn't mean the philosopher's very positive notion of presenting evidence to support claims. And Osai, Stephen just went off, and there's peace in the background. All right. Now it took us to then what the types of definitions, which you are very well versed in, at least from lexical, ostensive, operational, stipulative, and theoretical. The last one that I think we wouldn't have gone through to the end would be real definition or ideal definition, or which is also called eliminative definition or essential definition. Look at one type of definition, the several names it has. This type of definition is the one that is doing what definitions really do, what definitions really should do in reality. It is the essence of definition. So when you have a definition that you define as real definition, it means it's actually really does what a definition should ideally do. Perfect. If we had an ideal situation, enter a banking or everything is going to say ideally bank credit, people should not be picking. You are saying that if we were having the perfect form of it, then we shouldn't be picking calls in the banking hall. Okay, you are speaking ideally. It means perfect. That is why these definitions are not very common, because we don't have a lot of perfect situations, not at all, in the world of appearance, Plato's language. In this physical, no, we don't have a lot of perfect situations. That should tell you that this type of definition doesn't have a lot of, we don't have a lot of them. Okay, it's also described as eliminative. That means you're able to switch between what the definiendum and the definiens in all contexts of its use. Wherever you use the definiendum, it will mean that definiens. Wherever you use the definiens, it will mean the definiendum. The meaning doesn't change in all contexts of its use in that discipline. Okay, you can't do that for the definition a bachelor is an unmarried adult. No, because sometimes when you use bachelor, it doesn't mean unmarried adult. So that tells you immediately that this one is not a real definition, right? If you say a sister is a female sibling, sibling is my mother's daughter, sibling, relation, blood, a female sibling. This is not a real definition. Why? Because I can have a sister which is described or defined differently. So this, I mean, woman sister, I mean, okay. So we can go on and on and on. Most of our words, our terms, our concepts then are not do not have the feature that makes them a real definition. We'll see what that feature is. If it's a real definition, that concept must be capable of what? Being well defined. It's just the 2 steps over there. I'll show you. Okay. So eliminative means the 2 can switch position. Ideal, because it is perfect. And I've told ladies when we do some mentoring sessions, I tell them, look, ideal guys are not on earth. Whoever is giving you that information, you know, I'm looking for the ideal guy. And I'll bet check menopause, baby, because they are not here. Every guy you get has some names, so there will be a bat, just like you two. You have a lot of bats. But what you have to learn to do is to learn to make each other fit in. Maybe you can hope to make someone change. That is not your job, though. God can help you because his mother and father who brought him or her into the world, they couldn't change it. Now, you see, but maybe by God's help, you can help each other get fit in. So if you know that you can't fit in no matter what, then it is danger zone. These are the things you should hear, not to be looking for an ideal guy. Johnny Bravo. Oh, appearances are deceptive. Okay, so they are not common. All the elaboration there was to help you see that ideal definitions are not common. Abraham, Enoch, Elijah, they are the ideal that they are dead and gone. The rest of us on earth, there we have problems. You have to help us solve them. Okay. If you want us, you shouldn't come looking for it. It's an essential. Okay, so now that you have a fair idea of which type of definition we call real, let's look at the next slide and apply them. I told you that a bachelor is an unmarried adult male, a sister is a female sibling, water is all these terms are open class concepts. Look on my screen now. They are open textured terms. The essence of those terms can be contested. What they mean really, that's their essence. What the word stands for really can be contested. If you ask me what the word means and I gave you a definition, you can say, oh, but it doesn't have to be this. It could also be this. And we can argue about it. Remember value judgment. When we started, the reason is the terms essence. Terms that belong to open class concepts, as I projected on your screen now. Look at it, please. Or open texture terms are open class because they are essence. You can't have one definition that stands for the essence of it without contestation. It can be argued. Look at the word democracy. Look at American democracy they practice. It's not the same as UK's democracy. UK has a king and a queen with inheritance line, and yet they have parliaments alongside. They call it a democracy. America doesn't have a king. They have a federal system, yet it's a democracy. Look at Ghana, and so on and so forth. So the term democracy is not like a mathematical term that you can have a fixed definition for. It's a lie. Its essence is contested or contestable. So we will continue to, that is why we, for parliamentary democracy, two-thirds majority, this, we will keep arguing around it. Arguing here meaning we'll present different viewpoints to make it better. We believe, sometimes worse, okay? But to improve it, because that notion we are dealing with, it's not one that you can come and give a fixed definition to and lift up your bag and go home. It's a joke. Look at fidelity. That's another one I put there. I'll ask you these questions. Fidelity, even within one religion, and permit me to use a Christian religion again. I'm a Christian, so it doesn't look like we are offending others or you are trying to pick holes in other people. But within the Christian setting, you will have a group of people who call themselves Christians. No apologies, okay? But they believe that you can marry 2, 3, 4 for reasons that they find in the Bible when they read it. They claim that, for example, women go to that time of the month, so you have to alternate so that the day that you can't cover your something when the woman goes to that time of the month. So you have to shift, and it's not holy, and it's this. So they believe that marrying more than one is not anything that you can label as what, an infidel guy. No. Others say, no way, it's infidel. It's an infidelity, it's a sign of infidelity to do that. It's the same religion. The same. Then if you go outside of the religion, we know Muslims can marry more than one. It's not that doesn't make you an infidel at all. So who is defining fidelity? What makes someone a fidel person and which one makes someone infidel? It is an open textured term. A term whose essence, look on my screen, can be contested. So it's an essentially contestable term. Why? Because it has an open class, various ways of understanding or dealing or using that term and within the same discipline. And that term's view, you can't have a fixed meaning to it. We continue to make it better. Look at justice, the justice system. You are here. We see that we keep reviewing our justice systems. Why do we review it if it's fixed? Have you heard that 1980, 2 plus 3 was 5, but in 1970, no, but in 2022, now 2 plus 3 has become 30. No, it's fixed because that system is closed. Mathematical, look on my screen now, I projected something else. The terms in those disciplines that we call deductive disciplines, like mathematics, logic, some aspects of physics, their terms are closed. They are well-defined concepts whose terminologies, that those concepts are closed. They don't allow for variations, point of views. You can't have your own view of addition. When I say 3 plus 2, you can't say you think that plus can be minus. There will be confusion in the world. You have to understand that because we need fixed structures, pillars, around which we can go around and find different versions. So the mathematical terms are the terms or the concept that structure our thinking. They are the pillars. So they are empty of content, unfortunately. Logical tools are empty, logical, concepts are empty. If I say if B, then Q, that's why we can use variables, A, B, C, D, because it's not referencing anything particular. It applies to everything, it's empty. It is a tool. So deductive laws, you will learn them in Unit 6, are what tools that you use. If you go to the market and you buy 2 oranges plus 3 oranges, you expect that the woman will give you 5 oranges, I can also go to market and buy 2 yards of cloth plus 3 yards. I expect 5 yards of cloth. So the 2 plus 3 doesn't have any content to it. It's just the form being given. Plus means addition. Subtract means take it out. Equal to means this. Greater than or less than means that. These are concepts that are closed. Even number, prime number, kilogram. If I say the rice is imported, it's 2 kilograms. Whether it is in Afghanistan or Zaire, 2 kilograms means 2 kilograms. Physics, okay? Geometry, the shapes of something. So what? So I'm trying to tell you that these disciplines and their concepts are what? Well defined, which means they are closed concepts. You can't have your own definition or meanings of it. However, when we are dealing with open class concepts, I've gone back to that slide, look. We did democracy, fidelity, justice. I want to talk about family. When we go to church, we say my brothers and sisters. The ex-president of blessed memory, Atamels, would address the nation and say, my brothers and sisters. It means he sees us as we all have one father or one mother. That notion of family is not what I mean when I'm going to pay school fees for my children, but it's still family. And then when we say that we are going to, some people even see their dogs as family, more family than even the house girl. Because the dog eats what they eat. The dog eats special meal. He's a family member. I have to treat him well. The house girl just came to work, he will go. For some people, that is it. For someone, her friend is more of a family to her than even the blood brother. It's in the Bible. There is a friend that sticks closer than a brother, Jonathan and David. The point I'm making is, so this notion of family, you can't have a fixed definition of it. Fixed. Now you say the concept has this definition and all other views are closed. You can't come in. No way. Therefore, when you are dealing with an open class concept, it means that you have diverse views about that concept. And therefore, the essence of it can be contested. That's why you can't have a well-defined, fixed definition for such a term. If you got that, then we are back to that slide. See, so real definitions have what? Well-defined concepts. And that is why when you define them, you have captured the essential meaning of that word. Look on your screen. And that is why wherever you find the definition of that definition, you can replace it with the definitions without any issue. And then that is why they are not common. They are ideal. There we go. So an example from mathematics would be what? An even number. An even number is any number that divides two equally without a remainder. Wherever you see even number, it will mean this. Wherever you see the meaning, it will mean even number in math. But what about family in sociology? What about justice in politics? What about what's the other one? Democracy in politics. What about justice in law? They will vary. I just showed you instances because the terms we are dealing with are open textured, and I'm very confident that one sank in very well. I want to take questions, but let me finish with the problems of definitions. Then we are done with the whole of topic 2. Then I'll mop up nicely. If there are legitimate questions, I'm glad to sort them for you. Okay. Now on your screen, the final thing on unit 2. This one we didn't do at all. Just like I think the open texture. So it's new. So I took a lot of time and I used a lot of examples and I opened it out, you see, because no, I could have finished by now. Well, there's the open texture terms are, some examples are this and this. Okay, and well-defined terms we like this and this. We are finished, then move on. It won't come alive. You have to show it. That's what I've done. I hope God will help us to be better. Now, the problems we can have with definitions. When you define a word, can you imagine that? And people, the class is not logged though, but you see how everybody is muted. It's so beautiful. Once in a while, you unmute and we laugh a little, then you put it back. That is academia. See, it's very beautiful. It's like an international conference. And we have 474 people signed on. 474 so far. That's what I like. Okay. Not the noisy bits there. No. Okay. So we can laugh. You know, your background is quiet. The lecturer says something is funny or the presenter says something. We laugh a little. We continue. It's okay. It's fine. Right. So back to what I was saying. If I define the word and remember the logic of definition, I explained it to you. Anytime you have a definition, it means there is an unknown word which you don't understand. And you are using what you understand to help the person get to what he or she doesn't understand. So you are using the known to lead the person to the unknown. So the person must know something. What do you have in your room? Elijah asked the woman. He said, I don't have anything. Say, you don't have anything at all? Because I need that one to help connect you to what is unknown. See, you must always have something. Moses, what do you have in your hand? God asked him. You see, the guy didn't think he had it. He was holding a staff. He says, yes, and no, that's all I'm looking for. Jesus says, don't we have anybody with food here? The people were amazed because we are looking for food for thousands of people. You are asking us whether we don't have any food. Are you telling us to have KFC van following us wherever we are? Say any food at all. We say, oh, nothing except some small boys' lunch. He says, I need that one, bring it. It's always like that. If you want to hit the target, you must always work with what you have. Don't despise humble beginnings. You see, that thinking is what I'm bringing to definitions. If you come and you're asking a question, you must always know it to a certain place, level. So this is how I understand it. Okay, now you see what you think you know. This one and this one and this one are not correct about it, but this one is correct about it. And they add this. It makes meaning. Than if I come and I start just throwing it in. I don't know where your handicap is. I'm just throwing it in like that. You get plenty valuable things. You see gold and throw it out. But what you were looking for was food, not metals. But the metal was gold, which can get you food. So you have to always learn that way. And that is what definitions do, people. So if you hear a bachelor is an unmarried adult male, I keep going to that one because it is easier to reference. We have done a lot with it. So you already know the definiendum and the definiens, and you know that it has different connotations and all that. That's why we go back to it. It's a known. Then we use it to introduce the unknown. Okay, so I'm saying that when you see that, it only says, if you don't know who or what a bachelor is, then look at an unmarried adult male. That is the logic. You don't know a bachelor. Look at what? An unmarried adult male, period. If you don't know bachelor, look at an unmarried adult male. So when we are defining and we say a bachelor is an unmarried adult male, it means that I don't know bachelor, but I know an unmarried adult male. So you are telling me that if you look at an unmarried adult male, it is just the same as that thing that you say you don't know, bachelor. So now you know bachelor. Now let's come to diagnosing definitions on your screen. You don't know dog. Remember, you don't know dog. Let's say you know dog. Otherwise, you will be saying, oh, my dog. Dog, please, dogs also have a tail and it is no. You don't know dog. The crime, whoa, dog. You don't know it. You want to know. So you are class 2 girl. You ask auntie, raise your hand. What is dog? The auntie says, oh, dog is any 4-legged animal. Dog is any 4-legged animal. What auntie just told you is this. If you don't know dog, look at any 4-legged animal. Now tell me what that will do to the child. I want to ask, but it's a very big class. So I'll be very minded. Otherwise, we'll have a scatty again and people can hear. But I want to get feedbacks from you. What would happen? Leslie, your hand just shut up. So I've called you already, but I'll call you again. Will it be broad, narrow, circular, or vague? And why? Go ahead.
Broad.
Broad. Why? Very good. But why?
Because plenty animals have 4 legs, like cow.
Very good. Very good. What you have said, thank you very much, very correct. This will mean that the child will go home. I use child so that you see that you there, you know it already. So you won't be able to picture what it will do to the child. A child that is learning, you are teaching him what a dog is. So a dog is any 4-legged animal. So if she's going and she sees cow, she will call it a dog. If she sees elephant, she'll call it a dog. If you say, hey, that's harmful, don't be so, but you say puppies are not harmful, puppies are pets. They say, but this is not a puppy. But I said, but this has 4 legs, just like a dog. You taught her that, the teacher. It's not a child that is that. And you would think that it is dog and puppy issue I'm talking about. I'm talking about a counselor who counsels couples before they marry. And you are exposing them to what marriage is and what it entails. And sometimes it it may just turn out that what you told them in terms of trying to define marriage to them, broadened it. That is why they are having problems like that. We don't know the implications. You may be an advisor to a very sensitive position, someone in a very sensitive position, and you're an advisor, or a consultant. The people have to listen to you. But the definition, the meaning you made was too broad. You brought in too many things that don't belong there. So the person thinks that, oh, if I do this one too, it means I am advancing the company so and so. It is your problem. You did it. Not the one who is learning. Now you're the one who was also receiving the knowledge. You have to detect it. And so that's what we are doing. That's definitions. But we start with what? Dog, cat, table. For you to grab the concept. Then you cannot apply it in that your discipline. Don't broaden it. Discipline means you do before you complain. Oh, sir. Maybe it might be broad. Maybe it might be narrow. Maybe you have to review it. And so on. Because sometimes if I kept quiet, something might go wrong. That's why I don't mute people. Because there might be something very pertinent they want to communicate. Maybe the line is not clear now, or doc, you are off or something. You have come. Discipline means you silence everybody. It might be too narrow or too broad. But someone's mic is open and another just went with the block. I have disabled your mic. No, for today, I'm not talking again. So if you got that and you know broad, then now I can quickly move to what? Narrow. And that is how you learn. See how it's quiet. It's not anything gigi, but you grab it and it's gone into your head. Stuck. You're able to tell others to and help them. When is a definition narrow? This time you said, where are my examples I gave you? I think I should use them so that we don't waste too much time. Oh, you don't know evil. Oh, evil is murder. I said, Mommy, but what is evil? Because God says that evil will do so and so and so and so. So what is evil? I said, evil is murder. That definition means if I don't know evil, I should look at murder. I explained the logic of definitions to you. Definiendum unknown, definiens known. So if you don't know evil, look at murder. Now what has happened? The child will see gossip as okay, it's not evil. bearing false witness is okay. When you cheat in the exam, you have done well. It's not evil. Something is lying there. You have taken it. They ask you, you are lying, but it won't constitute evil. By this definition I gave, because I said evil is murder. This is narrow. I've left out on your screen things that correctly belong in the denotation. When we are looking for examples of it, I've left things that should be there by the way I define. So the definition is narrow. I've told you that from day one. I think I told you there are definitions that could be both broad and narrow. I could give you one before we go. Just like there can be definitions, statements that are both factuals and definitions, or the gray areas I have admonished all the time. So look out for them. That's why I critical think. Sometimes clearly white versus clearly black. Sometimes gray, messed up. Women clearly female, clearly male. Then there are times hermaphrodite. I'm not talking gay or what is the other one? Queer people, LGBTQ. No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about someone who is a blend from down, at least physically. He has a male organ and a female organ. Maybe the body is female or the makeup is female. And one organ has joined, so they will have to. I'm talking about that. So there's always two extremes and sometimes a blend. You saw imperative that could be interrogative, or interrogatives that could be imperative. We saw factual statement that could be value judgment. Okay, most Ghanaians do not approve of abortion. We have seen value judgment. It is wrong, or you should not talk back at your supervisor, which could mean do not talk back at your supervisor. So you should not. If I present it as you should not, it's as if it's a value judgment. It is wrong to do that. And at the same time, the same thing could mean do not talk. That is imperative. It's not even a statement yet. So those are gray areas that you must always take note of. And so I just brought it in because you can have one statement that is both a factual and a value judgment. And Anochi or Komfo just went disabled. I beg you, stop doing it so that I focus on giving you content. Right. Now, suppose I said, lab, I want to give you the one that could be both narrow and broad. Forcing someone to do something against his or her will is what? Force, I think I want to, it's detail from the text, I want to use that. Where you can, evil is forcing someone to do something against his or her will. I don't think the word is evil. I'll check the textbook later and reference. I'm referencing the same thing. Forcing someone to do something against his or her will is evil or something like that. We force children to eat. We may not grab their hands and all that, but they don't want to eat. They want to play. And you'll be giving the food, take one bite, go on, take one. You are forcing them to do something against their will. But we don't consider that as evil. But sometimes too, the person hasn't forced you. No application of force at all, I tell you. But it's so evil. She has come and said, have you seen your so-called, lady that you are dying over, sitting over there with that guy? And the guy, she's sitting there over there at the poolside. This is her brother. But someone who is interested in getting to a place is talking to you about it. And you are so bitter and hurt in your heart. But she knows very well that the girl is sitting with her brother. Very evil. But there was no force applied. So here, one definition. If you, what do I say? One definition standing there as force is what? Evil is forcing someone to do something against his will. Could be narrow. We say you have included things that shouldn't belong there, and yet could be broad if you thought of force differently. Okay, so that's just one example. Your textbook gives you quite a number of examples. I just brought it in to show you that sometimes you can have a definition that is broad and have a definition that is narrow, but there can be overlaps. So be minded. Then secular definitions, these are all negatives. They are problems with definition. If you ask me what is critical thinking, and I tell you critical thinking is being critical about your thinking. Don't go home clapping for me. I said nothing. It's secular. It's tautologos. Why? Because the definitions repeats the definiendum. Sometimes not as explicit as I've done. Sometimes implicit. To be famous is to be well known. Lady, let me show you the one I put on your slide. The examples. I've referred to most of them, but look at the first one here. Let me ask someone to read that. I can take a sip of water. Who can read? Kezia, can you read for me?
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Lady, efficiency is being efficient at what you do in this office, please.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, don't worry. It's okay. Thank you. Now, see, a sister has come to the office there to work. Maybe she's a national service person who is new to the work environment, but she's doing her best. Just that it looks like the boss doesn't think it is enough. So you have to be efficient here. Then the lady says, oh, sir, please, I'm trying hard, but if you could explain what you mean by efficient, then it will help my work. Then he says, lady, efficiency is being efficient at what you do in this office, please. Did he help the sister? No. You just went in circles. Maybe you mean that for this our office. I mean, when I tell you that be efficient, I mean that be on time. Make sure that whenever you come, the files are arranged in alphabetical order. Make sure that the telephone setup is here. Make sure that the COVID-19 protocol things are this, because people will start coming in. Maybe we are DVLA office or something. When they start coming and we are now looking for file F, we don't know because we haven't arranged it in alphabetical order, so we can't find it and stuff like that. It's not efficiency. Efficiency is you should meet the people's need and it should be on time and what have you. Put content to it. Let the girl know what you mean when you say she should be efficient here, because you want problem solved. And you tell her, be efficient. Efficiency is being efficient at what you do in this office. What did you do? You said nothing. Secular. Begs the question. Tautologos. Okay. I have my famous example there. Example number 4. My dear, please, could you, Kezia, please read the example 4.4 for me.
Development is to develop the nation and
blah blah blah. So
blah,
development is to develop the nation and embark on developmental projects so that the nation becomes developed like the developed nations. You will be shocked. You think I just made this up? I picked them from sometimes radio programs. I liked sometimes the local stations, because I want the raw information. So for everyday concern, you hear the input to man say betu man input. That means, development should develop the nation. The nation is not moving forward. It's not progressing. This is from someone who wants to come and sit at a place to be the custodian of our Mpuntujuma. You don't know what it is that you are going to give us. Put flesh to it. Give it meaning. That's the point. This is secular. And it's empty. When the reasoning is secular, it's empty. There's no content. And then the last type of problem that I would want us to be worried about is what? Vague definitions. The definitions that are vague. If you are defining, you are giving meaning. All the 3 up there are not vague because they are clear. They specify what they want to tell you. The only issue we have with each is, for example, for broad, it is very specific, except that the specificity leads us to realize that some other members have been brought in that shouldn't belong there. So remember the dog example. It's not a question of vagueness. It's not a question of vagueness at all. What we see there is that this is very clearly defined, but we have added some denotations, some examples of particular instances that don't belong to the denotation. The list of what correctly listed members don't belong there. That's why when you said a dog is a 4-legged animal, a friend, I think Leslie said, no, that is broad. Why? Because I'll now start calling cows, goats, elephants, all animals that have 4 legs. I'll call them dogs. So it's too broad. I've included certain illegitimate members to the denotation. That is broad. But it was clear before I could do that diagnosis. Now for vagueness, you haven't specified at all. And I said it often happens when people use language figuratively, idiomatically, metaphorically, then you commit that. Too general that it loses what? Content. You overly generalize. generalized, that we can't pick up what you mean. It is no longer clear what you mean. Anything can be applicable to, can be applied or accepted by what you mean. So for example, if I said democracy is freedom for all, democracy is what? Freedom for all. We have gone through the ambiguity, or if you like, how equivocal we can be around the word freedom. When you say freedom for all, what are you saying? Prisoners too should come and jog around a town. You say, today, please open the gate for us. Hey, today, give us a sausage upside down with some wine and this. That's what we are eating. We want to feel free. Is that what they say? If you say freedom, go and snap pictures at diplomatic areas where they have told you that pictures are not allowed. They go and people go and snap the faces of corpses, people's beloved that have passed on, and so obviously the body is not as it was. They go and snap it and come and post it somewhere because they are free. Is that freedom? Irresponsible freedom is not freedom. It's lunacy. There must be control. That's why God didn't make us programmed that we will always obey him. No, he wants you to decide to. So it means that you regulate the freedom. Otherwise, he will not enjoy that. He has programmed you like the clock. When it's 6 o'clock, you bang. What kind of joy is that? That's why I've not muted you all. I have not disabled your mic. You have to be able to open the mic and close it. So if there is something relevant that maybe the lecturer is not seeing or is not, you are a human being. That's respect. You choose to do it. So you can do, by you can unmute and shout, oh, get out. You can do that. Why haven't you done? Because you respect yourself. That's how freedom. So freedom has to be regulated. Those who do philosophy amongst you, when we engage in class, you see, freedom without regulation is lunacy. I don't know how to say. You have control. So I'm just saying that when you say freedom for all, that is what democracy is. Freedom of which people? What sense of freedom are you referencing? You have gone to it. I don't want to belabor the point. But look at the second part. Freedom for all. All what? All human beings, including people who are, and to use the name of those people, rebels. Freedom for all. Rebels too should feel free and work in our nation. It can't be that. Animals too are included. You say freedom for all. All what? Which freedom? You see, it's vague. Anything can fit into that definition. You have to ask the person to specify for it to make meaning. That's the problem you have with such a kind of definition. I said that if you use expressions figuratively, oftentimes, figuratively means it's not direct. You're not using the language directly. You use it. Look at the one on religion is the opiate of the masses. It's on your screen now. I picked all this from the text. Religion is the opium of the masses. This is symbolic language. What does it mean? It's vague. Okay, and so on that note, I'll pause and take your questions, a little bit of them, and then we can end. After this one, after what you see on the slide, see that what is next is Unit 3, which you should engage. I could even use 5 minutes or so to do a little bit of the Unit 3 to help you read. The slides are yours. You see that in this our discussion, you've done some Unit 5 already. Yes, you've done from the equivocation already. That's how I teach. So when I start putting my vegetables into the soup, into the stew to fry, within 5 minutes, by the time you come, the stew is there. You say, but when did you do your crab? Have you boiled the crab? Where is the tuna? Oh, I did all that. While the banku was on fire stirring, I was cutting my things, doing this one, doing the willy, doing this. So when I put, when you come 10 minutes, when you think I'm now doing my balls of banku, I'm going to start stew. I said, well, I have all my things already. I just put them in one after the other. You have a nice, well-timed, effective meal ready for eating. That's how I teach. So you have to follow so that you don't lose track. All right. Now, Unit 3, you'll see that the discussion is on this is time. So we are going to round off with the questions. Unit 3, you have to focus on argument, narration. What was the other one? Rhetorical polemics and polemical rhetoric. That is your focus. Engage them. They are in the slides and read around to get the content. They are dealing with discourse. They are dealing with discourse. So that is your what you should focus on when you read. Okay, look in the slides. Those that are talking about argument, not argument. Those that are talking about rhetorical, polemic, and what have you will be our focus. Yesterday's group, I think I started on argument. I think we can do 2 minutes or so and add to what we have. Those who have to go into another class, don't bother, go. When we do the recording, we send, you can, if you don't want to play the whole thing because you got everything, you can just play from the last 5 or so minutes to get whatever was added and you are good. I can spare some few minutes to do that for you so that you have a good takeoff for the unit 3. Okay, then we mop up with our questions.
Now,
you can still take most of your questions to tutorial now that we have started tutorial, and then you can also send some of them to my email, and I'm glad to help you do it. Okay. All right. So whilst we continue, Ignatius, ABC, you don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Let's finish well. Keep your microphone muted because you don't know what you can say. Maybe you can even, out of some training that the person has, insult someone. If it's muted, no one will hear. But if it comes out, you can be sacked from the university, just like that. So mute it. I know I've taught for a while by the grace of God, and I've had some life experiences. So when I talk to you, listen, if you are not talking, mute it. You can go and say, oh, I see your lecture idea. We can fish you out. You're in trouble. Okay? Right. So the unit 3, what? We have studied, look on your screen, we have studied sentences all this while. Collection of words put together into one complete thought. And we saw them to be, some to be questions, some to be imperatives, and so on. And we got to statement, the special type of sentences that have a truth value, if you remember. Okay, and that's what we've been dealing with all this while. Just one string of expression statements standing there. In this unit 3, the discussions will focus on a collection of statements, so passages, not just one, but a collection of them. So a passage, maybe 2, 3, 5, 10 passages put together, sentences put together to form a passage. We are advising, we are suggesting to you that when you see a passage, sometimes it is narrating. So what is happening in that passage is a narrative. They're telling you, look on my screen, please. They're telling you or reporting on how something happened, the sequence or the order of occurrence of an event. So it is narrated. Your textbook gives you plenty of examples. This morning, I woke up, I studied, I did this, then I came to school, full stop. It's a narrative. It's a narrative. I'm telling you how it happened. It's a passage. Sometimes when you see a passage, it is not narrating, it is rather instructing. Achampo, next time I will sack you from the class. Sometimes it is not narrating, it is rather doing what? It is, what is it? Go screen, instructing. And narration tells you how it happened, how to get it done, step by, how a sequence of event and how it occurred. That's narrative. So you see that it has a sense of past tense to it. You report what happened. Instruction, it has a sense of future tense to it, how to do it. So a discourse which describes the process or sequence of things to do in a specified order to accomplish some desired effect. So how to get it done. Okay, the steps, the sequence that you follow to get some, like operational definition, okay, to get to a result. So that passage would be described as an instruction if it's only telling you how to get it done. Whilst, and it will be described as a narrative if it only reported how it was done. When will we call it a polemical rhetoric or rhetorical polemic? When it is capturing or communicating strong feeling or an opinion. Remember, emotive expression. But emotive expression would have been one standing there. This one communicates, is a passage communicating such strong feeling or persuasively venting out an opinion. Okay, Ghana must unite. This is, Kwame Nkrumah's speeches or Rawlings' speeches on this, those kind of things. Captured, it is more emotive in orientation, okay, positively or negatively. We will consider that kind of a passage as what? A rhetorical polemic or polemical rhetoric. And then it takes us to the one that is of importance to us as critical minds, that type of passage that you will call what? Argument. Argument, okay? That simply refers to what? A set of statements, like we said. Only one of which is the conclusion. All the others being what? The reasons grounding that conclusion. Whenever you have an argument, it means you have a set of statements. One only is the conclusion, what you actually want to say. The other statements are the reasons you are giving to support what you want to say. That is argument. Okay. There's always a logical relation. You are saying what you want to say based on the reasons you've offered. So you are not just narrating or instructing or venting out strong opinion. If I said, Yaya stole the laptop because she was the last person who left the room, I want to say she stole the laptop. What's my reason? She was the last person who left the room. So we may want to think of this as what? An argument. Whenever it rains, the grounds get wet. It has just rained, so the ground is wet. This is an argument. We have not said that what you are saying is actually true, but you are saying something and you are attempting to give us reasons why you are saying what you're saying. So this is an argument. You say when it rains, the ground gets wet. It has rained, so the ground will be wet. Therefore, you easily identify conclusions of any argument by words like so, hence, therefore, as a result, consequently. I just said a few, but the slide gave you 3. Okay, these are indicator words, words that point to possible conclusion. Okay, they point to it. And then if you take that conclusion out where there's an argument, then you can tell that the rest are what? Premises. Now, instead of looking out for only conclusion indicators, sometimes you can look out for premise indicators. Premise just means reasons. It's a technical name for it. Look on my screen. It's there. See, reasons. They are also called premises or evidence or the justification you are offering. They all refer to the same thing. I'm called Nancy. I'm called Amma. I'm called Miles, my father's name. I'm called Bafo James, my husband's name. They are all my name. Okay, so I have several names. I said that from topic word propositions. You have to know the other names so that I don't say, but I thought they said it is John Dramani that we are coming to look at. When I came there, they say it's Dr. Mahama that is there. You have a problem, not the person who invited you. John Dramani is also called Mahama. He's the one. When I came there, they said the person is President Akufo-Addo. Well, it's the same person. It's called Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So if you had Nana Addo, and you came there, the name is Akufo-Addo, President. Don't say it's not the one I came for. Okay, so premise is another word for reason or what? Evidence or justification. And conclusion can also be called the claim, what you are saying ultimately, okay? So whenever you argue, you have premises that is leading you to that conclusion that you are drawing. You have evidence supporting a certain claim you are making, okay, and so on and so forth. Premise indicators include what you see on the screen. Since she left the room last, I think she's responsible for the theft. Take note, it's not every day you see since that the since is acting as a premise indicator. If I say, I have not eaten since morning, I have since then, but it is not acting as reasons why something. It is a gerund of what time. Those of you do English, okay? So given that, if, provided, because, etc., are all what? Indicator words to help you identify premises. So on your screen, you know that argument is not aggressive language or demeanor or disputing unnecessarily. No, win at all costs. No. When you see compelling arguments, a critical thinker knows that I have to give in. How? So we'll learn deduction, induction. You look at whether the argument is sound, valid, cogent, and so on and so forth. That's why you are going to learn them. When you realize that I didn't do a good job at my own reasoning, you give in. That's a sign of maturity, intellectual maturity. Not you have said everything you say, but me, where I'm standing is where I'm standing. Then go and do another kind of discipline, not academia. Academia is not like that. Okay? All right. So everything I've said is what is scrolling on the screen. I want you to look at it. See, making a claim, giving reasons to support it is what argument is. Look at the parts. Now put into a simple presentation for you. See, 2 parts. There's always only one claim. The whole thing we talk plenty, State of the Nation's address or political party present, whatever. Ultimately, there's only one thing the person says, so vote for me. Finish. If it's the Bible says the end of the matter is this: love God, obey His commandment. Finished. Genesis to Revelation. That is what it is saying. Ecclesiastes told you that. That's the end of the matter, not plenty talk. So if they say appeal to this, bring 20,000, and we are going to fast 30 years, and this all that when we do it, 30 years, yeah, not fasting, skeletons, The whole thing about that is what love God, obey His commandment. Finito. That's the end of the matter. So every time we argue, there's only one conclusion. There might be sub this and sub that and sub. Ultimately, to point to one thing that I want to say. The rest gives you reasons why you should accept my claim, or reasons why I'm saying what I'm saying. Those are the premises, and I've explained that already. So on your screen, you see some, which I think from where we've reached, you are able to engage. And that is what will take you to two ways of reasoning or two ways of arguing. Now, no argument. You can argue. I want to end on this slide. You see that when we came, it was here. That's where we ended with Monday. Look on it. And there are activities that you can refer to, or you can discuss a tutorial. We started when Doc did arguments with us. She introduced, because the substantive discussion will be in Unit 6. But I introduced the types of arguments. When I introduced argument in Unit 3, I showed you, can say that there are two types of arguments, but you want some practice example. That's what tutorial is for, okay? So two types of argument. One is called deductive argument. The other one is called inductive argument. Sometimes we argue deductively, deductively, okay? And sometimes we argue inductively, I-N-D-U-C, induct. Deduce, D-E-D-U-C, and they added T. Deduction means if the premises, see, I'm using technical terms now, yeah. If the premises I gave you were assumed to be true, okay, it will mean that the conclusion would also be what necessarily true, where there is a valid deduction. The deduction was done well. We'll learn validity later, okay? So if it is a valid deduction, it means that if the premises were true, the conclusion must also be true. Otherwise, you will generate a contradiction. That type of argument, whose premises, if true, will require the conclusion to be also true, is what we call deductive argument. But for inductive argument, it is possible for the premises to be assumed to be true, and yet the conclusion that you drew from it doesn't necessarily follow. And we'll call that type of argument what? Inductive. And so on our screen, if I said all students write exams, Amma is a student, so she writes exams. That looks like I have no option than to conclude, so she writes exams. Because the first premise said, all students write exams, all students, all. Then the next premise also said, Amma is a student. So what I know of all students will apply to Amma also, because I said Amma is a student. That's the second premise, the second information, evidence I have. So if all students write it, that thing is not necessarily true, because not all students write exam, mind you. Okay, some don't, some just do a defense. They are students, but they don't write exams. So it is not actually true per se, but that's not our concern. We were saying if we were to take it to be actually true, yeah, funny say, no cry, go on call no call school be saying my exam say. If we were to take it to be true that I just repeated the same thing in different languages, that all students write exams. That's the first premise. And we were also to assume that Amma is also a student, because Amma may not be a student. Amma may be a cleaner that works in the lecture hall there. Amma may sell banana. She also works on campus. Yes. If someone tells you I work at Legon, don't assume that it immediately means it's the vice chancellor. Who told you? Some are cleaners, some are gardeners. We need them, so they work here. But so Amma is a student may not necessarily be true. That's my whole point. But if we were to assumption, if it were true, if people, If you get this, you do modus ponens, modus tollens, hypothetical syllogism, disjunctive syllogism. Easy. You can detect it when people are speaking. Okay, it's a conditional statement. All right, so back here. If we were to assume these two premises up there in example 1 to be true, it will necessarily lead us to this conclusion. Then she writes exams. We are not the people bringing the conclusion. It's already part of the premises. Watch. Just as a baby is in its mother's womb when she's pregnant. And so if you tell the mother to come into your room, she's pregnant. The baby will come. Don't say, you do. I said, come on, you come with the baby. She's pregnant. If you take the orange home, you are taking the seed home. The seed of the orange is already inside it. If you take the envelope that contains the cash that I'm dashing you home, if you carry the envelope, I'm going with the cash. Don't say, I only touched the envelope. I didn't, the cash is in the envelope. That's the nature of a deductive argument. Of course, a valid one. The conclusion is already a part of the premises. That is why, if the premises are true, it requires that the conclusion must also be true. That's deduction. So you deduce the conclusion from the premises. You pull out the conclusion from the premises. And so if the premises are true, conclusion must also be true. If, don't tell me because the premises are true, the conclusion will be wrong. All right. That's example 2 then represents inductive reasoning. The inductive reasoning. Why? Most Ghanaians are hospitable. My mother is a Ghanaian, therefore she is hospitable. Suppose we take it to be true that most Ghanaians are hospitable, and even add that my mother is a Ghanaian. It doesn't necessarily lead to the conclusion. I said necessarily, no, doesn't lead to that conclusion that therefore she is hospitable. It could be true that both the premises are true in example 2 now, but my mother could be part of the few who are not hospitable. So this conclusion I'm drawing is forced out of the premises. It's induced, like the way we induce vomiting. I didn't say I will vomit, but if you gave me palm oil and whatever, something mixed with something, you can induce vomiting so that the poison I've taken in will come out. It's an induction, a forcing. It's not taken from it calmly like that, okay? So one is deductive, and the other one is inductive. And there are two types of argument or two ways of supporting our claims with evidence, which you already know in Unit 3. You see, you already know it in Unit 3, something you should engage closely in Unit 6, okay? Why do you know it in Unit 3? Because you now know argument, which is distinct from what? Narrative, distinct from instruction, distinct from polemical rhetoric or rhetorical polemic. And I want to really end here. Thank you very much for this. Now I'll take some few questions and then the rest will take it to tutorial. These are all arguments you should engage. All right. Any questions? Well done. We still have 350 something plus. Wow. Okay, let me give you time. My time. You see, when we start maybe 10 minutes or 5 minutes late. You see how much time goes into it. Look at your time now. Whether you ever lost out or not, you don't lose. Just make sure that we get in a lot of people. I'll take the questions. They are still being recorded. I'll put them down and share. Obobi Sylvester, you have the opportunity. Ask. Everybody has to unmute before they ask. Obobi, quickly, quick. Whilst Obobi is preparing to ask, Amega Eric, be on standby. Sometimes people have network issues. That's why we want to wait for them for a while. But if Obobi is not able to, then Amega Eric, your turn now, please. Let's take, whilst Amega is making his turn, Christiana Dule, please be on standby. Amega Eric, go ahead. Unmute and ask your question. If your question is no longer there, then it's only fair that you put your hands. I see 10 hands up. I want to take them. Maybe their questions have been addressed with the presentation, or they think that it will be better sent to tutorials. It's fine. Okay. Let's take Beatrice Boateng if Christiana Dule is not able to ask a question now. Beatrice, go ahead.
Madam, I wanted to ask whether you're replacing Mr. Daniel.
You said you wanted to ask if what?
You are replacing Mr. Daniel.
Today is Wednesday, right? Oh, I'm wrong.
Today is Tuesday.
Hey, I said Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. I don't have a Tuesday class. Am I
Come
in my
again.
group or not? I'm a bit confused by your question. This is
I'm
group
in group.
3.
This is
This
group
is
3.
group 3.
Madam, please,
Yes.
you have a class today.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
today is, so we are in our group. Is this not group 3, please? We are, this is
This
group
is
3, my
group
lady.
3.
Yes, thank you. Tomorrow,
Yes,
Wednesday morning, I'll do group 6. Okay, so you can look out for
Oh.
Dr. Mr. Okanse's group. Okay, thank you, Beatrice.
Oh,
But the
okay.
substance will be the same. No problems at all. Okay. All right, let's
Okay.
take Theophilus down.
Madam,
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Theophilia. My lady, apologies, it's Theophilia. Go ahead.
please, let's take this example. Reverend Kofi Drew is a pastor, and from what you explained about the differendum and the defiance, you're like you look from the unknown definition.
What you gave me is
So
not a
you look from
definition.
the unknown to
My
known.
lady, yes, what you asked, Friedro is a prophet. It's not a definition. It's a factual statement.
Oh, okay.
You have to give me a definition where you are attempting to give me the meaning of a word. That is when we have a definition and a definition. You see, not when I'm stating a fact. When I say, she is sitting under the tree, or Kofi is sitting under the, that is not a definition. Where we are giving you the meaning of a word, that is when you have a definition and a definition. All right. Good question. Okay. Arafat Dean, you're welcome. Go ahead, Arafat Dean, quickly. That would be very beneficial to your colleagues. I'm glad it's on the recording. Go ahead. Arafat, go ahead, please. Please be by your machine there. Go ahead. Yeah, because I want to take your, this is not Arafat. I said Arafat Dean. Please, I want Arafat. Is it Arafat? Your microphone has not been unmuted. Okay, go ahead then. I don't know what is happening. Your microphone is still.
Please, I want to explain the narrow for me.
No. How did you understand it, my lady? Hey, I'm sorry, sir. The person speaking is not Arafat. This is Isaac Enyan Dramina speaking, right?
Yeah.
You don't play around with me, oh. Hey, I just disabled your mic. I don't like that. I kept saying Arafat. You say you're Arafat. You see, Arafat did ask your question, please. Look, don't play around with us. Oh. When I was a student, okay, yeah, don't do that. You need help. Just say, okay, I'm not the one, but I have a question. I have captured 9 hands up and I'm working with them. You say you are Arafat. Arafat too won't ask his question. Okay, let me take Emanuela Kwe. Okay, Manuela, please go ahead. Arafat, wait. Let Emanuela speak first. I've called you, sir. Let Emanuela speak. Emanuela, please go ahead.
Please, I want you to explain the vague.
Vague. Vague means it's extremely general. You see, general means you are not, when you say you are defining, you are giving me the meaning. You are giving me the meaning. You are using what I know to help me get to that unknown word. So you say democracy is freedom for all. So you are telling me that when people, you see that I'm even saying when there's freedom for all, then it means there is democracy. How will I understand? All what? All human beings, including the rebels that want to come through Burkina to our nation, for example. I would just want to make sense. They're also human beings, even if you meant human beings, all human beings coming in feeling free to blast bombs. Because that's what they are. They are called rebels. You see that? If you define democracy that way, then you are telling me that if our borders up there don't permit all human beings to come in and feel free, then we are not practicing democracy. That is how you are defining democracy. But not just that, it could mean some other. So it's so general And I have gone through different connotations of the word freedom with you. So you are able to see different ways of thinking of freedom. You enter my house, you are my student, you come to a lecture, so you're a lecturer, like somebody's trying to outsmart me here, right in my own setting. Bright. I see there's I'm Arafat Din. You had the name speaking is not Arafat Din. How? I tried several times to prompt it. I can see that Arafat Din's microphone is still muted. Are you Arafat Din? He said yes. Then I mentioned your name. He said, why? It's not good. Maybe there is an explanation that later may come up. But I'm saying that, so you enter my hall, and I say, feel free. Oh, feel free, eh? Because I know I'm your lecturer and you're my student, for example. So you may feel a bit, nervy. And even if I'm showing something and you wished you would see something else on the TV, you can't see. So when they say feel free, oh doc, please, can I have some water? Oh, it's fine. He's bringing you water. That's the sense in which I'm saying feel free. Doc, if you're not watching this, could we watch so and so? It's fine. Not that, oh, doc says we should feel free. You come with a colleague. Let's go and see her bedroom. The woman, she's saying, hey, I want to see the bed sheet you use because we want to feel free. Your friend is saying, oh, don't do that. I say, oh, see, any free. Any free, and then is that the kind of freedom that so when you say freedom for all, my lady, it is overly general. There's a problem with that definition, that it is not specific, it's indeterminate, it's not determinate. In CP, clearly showing you that is this that I'm referring to. That is what it is. Where we say that such a definition is too vague. And I keep telling students that thing often happens when we use language figuratively or metaphorically. Okay, then it helps. Oftentimes we commit that kind of problem. All right, Bismarck Owusu, please ask your question. Bismarck Owusu Donko. After you, I'll take Jemima Makata. Bismarck, quickly, pal. We are going to almost additional 30 minutes. You will not lose out because the recordings are there. I'm losing out. So let's go quickly, okay?
Yes, mine is not a question, but I want to find my way out on this because last week lectures I couldn't get the recording. So I was asking, how do I get the recording?
The recording is not, no, my brother, listen. The live session is required. I may have to also stop doing the recording. Sincerely. Because last week, I think the groups I handled are those that had recordings. My colleagues didn't record because we don't want to encourage that. You see, pick a time that fits your schedule and attend the lecture, just like you would have done with a physical lecture. Would you go after the physical lecture is done and tell the lecturer that I didn't attend, so where is the recording of that physical lecture? No, this is something we are doing, or we want to, some of us, like I do, because we may want to think that there could have been challenges. Sometimes your network just goes bad for just a while, but it's not a generic thing. So we don't want people relaxing, okay, and saying that I didn't get the record, coming to demand. No, I may decide not to even post it. No, sincerely, okay, so the posturing must be right. The recording is just something additional that the lecturer, out of her own thinking, may want to add. It is important. That's why this time we didn't impose any group on anyone. In the past, we would have put you into groups. So you come to school and you are in group 6, and group 6 meets on Monday, whether you like it or yes, attend. The person's Monday slots are already blocked by other courses. How would he or she be there? That was when recording the session would have been a requirement because he couldn't have been in that group. And they have met. So let me have the content. You can come and make a claim of it. This semester, we asked you, the student, to choose a slot from the many that we advertise that fits your schedule so that you can attend, just like you attend any regular departmental course in person. When you go, you don't come back asking the lecturer what you taught in class. Where is my own? Where were you? That's the question. So I try to make the recordings available to the class, but I'm saying that it is not a requirement where people come making a claim of it. The posturing of our students, respectfully, for critical thinking and all other courses must be right. You don't demand anything from anyone. You take things that are yours and you do it. Okay, so like I did with my last week's sessions, I will do the same hopefully this week. It's a lot of work to do that. You pull it down, you generate a link and upload it into you pull it down, upload it into a safe a bigger place that is easily accessible to many people. I use YouTube. Then you generate the link and share on Sakai. Tell the student that you can, with this link, get to our previous discussion that we had. What it does is like for revision. Not that is where you are going to start learning. Then the lectures in university should have recorded all our lectures and posted them. Then you don't come to look for residence or anything. When you are at home, then you play the recording. And then 4 years later, you come and get degree. I mean, no, the live session is important. Interactive, ask someone to read, ask someone's view, critique here, whatever. That is the class session. So the live is important. And if it continues, some of us may be tempted to also stop the recording. Okay, that's my response this month. Let's take Educhre Samuel. It will help you. Not too pleasant, too direct, but it will help you. Educhre Samuel, ask your question. After that, Claudia IJ, be on standby.
Okay. Hello, madam. Please,
go ahead, sir.
I wanted to ask that there is this African proverbs that says "Unimu wa shenda."
Yes, please.
To ask, is it broad?
Is it defining that it is a value judgment or a wise saying? We'll do idiomatic expression, a metaphorical statement, figurative expression, and the others. Okay, it is not defining, but it is speaking figuratively, proverbially, metaphorically. Okay, so we'll look at that when we engage. It is not a definition, so you can't ask whether it's broad, secular, vague, or what's the other, narrow. It's not defining. It is a wise way of using language. You see that Unit 2 tells you bracket metaphorical language. Means treat them specially. Proverbs come with a lot of baggage around it. No one can lick their elbow. It's a proverbial language. Metaphorical language, or the other one, figure of speech. So you are admonished, you are advised as a critical thinker to bracket such thoughts. Don't interpret them literally. So that's what we will do again, next week. But it is not a definition for us to even ask whether it's narrow, broad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was an interesting one. So remind me, you are welcome. Remind me next week. We'll touch on it and see where we place it when we are talking.
Okay.
I think it's a problem.
Okay. Thank
you. Claudia,
okay,
go ahead then. Thank you, Eduche. All the best. Claudia, quickly pardon that. I think any extra hands that time will not be called. Clenam, be on standby. Clenam, Joachim. After that, I take Akusika Sarah, and then the IDs are 2, and we are done. Go ahead. Go ahead, my lady Claudia. Go ahead, please. Claudia, go ahead. Well, Clenam, you can ask your question now.
And back to the trial on screen, and also to find out what is exactly.
You wanted to find out what is what? Clenam, so you wanted to find out what is what? Oh,
what instruction goes with the trial on screen?
What instruction goes with the second part didn't come?
The trial on screen being projected.
So you are supposed to find out whether it is an argument. I think it is, and because there is no indicator word anywhere. So how you will know which one is a premise and which one is the conclusion if it were an argument? My answer is it is an argument. The conclusion is there. We'll continue from here, God willing, next week. So don't worry. But the conclusion is the first part, and the premises are what follows. You read it, you see. A person makes a case and says, first of all, this, moreover, that, besides this. That's the reason why he or she is saying what is up there. Okay, so it is an example of an argument where there is no indicator word, no so, thus, hence. And when you go for premise 2, you don't see sense because given that there's no indicator word, and yes, it's an argument. That's what it was for. So we'll do it together, God willing, next week.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my lady. Now we take 2 more. Sarah, you are the one, those who have IDs, they see that I'm struggling to call you. So I've not called you. I just pray your hand hasn't been up for so long. We still have over 200 people here. They will benefit. So you go ahead. Let's take Sarah Kusika. I'll take Jamina next. And then the last one is...
Doc, please, I think my hands were formally raised, but currently they are not.
Who is speaking? Akusika, Sarah?
Yes, please.
Your hand is up, so I'll lower it for you. When you click
Yes,
the same
please.
place, it goes up. Yeah, thank you so much. So I've just
Okay,
lowered it.
thank you very much.
You are
Okay.
welcome. Now take Jamina Isaac Inyan. Sandra, please put your hand up. I beg you. I have to attend to other people. I've given you 30 minutes in addition. It's now 11. Okay. Unless it's bothering you, but let's take Jamina, please. Jamina, go ahead. Your hand is up already, Jamina. If Jamina is not there, let me take. I've muted Jamina. You were making noise earlier, so your microphone is disabled. Then it will give Sandra the opportunity. Let me take Sandra now. Sandra, go ahead. Unmute and ask your question. We are so done. Sandra, your microphone is muted. If it's a question, then please unmute and ask. Big boss, I'm not able to mention your name well. Forgive me if I crucify it. Inturimbe. I hope I pronounce it well. Your hand has been up for a while with your ID. You can unmute and ask. Okay, Sandra, wait. Let's take Inturimbe. Go ahead. Sandra, wait. Go ahead.
Madam, I was in group 1, but a recent change in my timetable in the mathematics.
You are always
has
allowed
taken
to
one.
change your group. It's fine. It's fine. Just be in one group consistently. Yes, but what?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, the consistency is of importance to someone like me. I want
So
you
it means
to
I should always follow. So
the
like
point
following
is,
the group 3.
Because look at where we have reached today. I teach 3 different groups, but last week I taught 5 groups because I took up 2 slots from a colleague who wasn't able to. I taught 5 groups, okay. But let's reference even my 3 groups. Yesterday's group reached a certain point. It's a class, so you don't force it. I mean, you can have 5 children. Some eat eggs, some don't like the eggs. You have to work according to the class's pace. You see that? So if you are in a group and you keep switching, you think that week 3, so I'm going to so and so group. It's fine. If it's just to add to what you know, that's okay. But you must eat what you are eating, because where I reach, I'll build from there. The examples I've given, see, I've taught you some part of Unit 5 already. So I know how to teach the Unit 5. By the time we finish, we would have covered everything. You know the connection, the examples I use. So when I'm referencing bachelor to build another point ahead, you know where we have reached. That's how you learn. So if you follow consistently, it helps you. But maybe you are in my group, you've heard everything, but you want to listen to some. I have that problem, rather. People listen from somewhere, they want to join here, to which is fine. It's not a problem. But make sure you are following what your group, in other words, where you are learning, you see, you follow sequentially, and then you can always top up with something else from somewhere. That helps you to learn better. Okay. But the exam will be for everyone and so on. So you don't have a problem.
Okay.
Sandra. Sandra, go quickly, please. Hey, Auntie, ask your question. You are the last baby, and your mic is already unmuted. We have 209 people waiting for you. What's your question, my dear Sandra? Well, I think I did my best at giving Sandra an opportunity. When she comes, she's always able to send an email or send her issues to tutorial for clarification. Thank you all for this week also. Have a wonderful week. I pray that you're able to engage all your content for the week and do well. We'll meet, God willing, next week, same time. All the best. Take care.